Alright. See if it makes that little noise at the beginning of the video. So we are back in this experience. Alright. The law for the day. Pay attention to negative cues. In the Arthur Conan Doyle story Silver Blaze, Sherlock Holmes solves a crime by paying attention to what did not happen. The family dog had not barked. This meant that the murderer must have been someone the dog knew. What this story illustrates is how the average person does not generally pay attention to what we shall call negative cues, which should have happened but did not. It is our natural tendency to fixate on positive information, to notice only what we can see and hear. It takes a creative type such as Holmes to think more broadly and rigorously, pondering the missing information in an event, visualizing this absence as easily as we see the presence of something. For centuries, doctors considered diseases exclusively as something stemming from outside the body attacking it, a contagious germ, a draft of cold air, miasmic vapors, and so on. Treatment depended on finding drugs of some sort that could counteract the harmful effects of these environmental agents of disease. Then, in the early 20th century, the biochemist Frederick Gowland Hopkins, studying the effects of scurvy, had the idea to reverse this perspective. What caused the problem in this particular case, he speculated, was not what was attacking from the outside, but what was missing from within the body itself. In this case, what came to be known as vitamin C. Thinking creatively, he did not look at what was present, but precisely at what was absent in order to solve the problem. This led to his groundbreaking work on vitamins and completely altered our concept of health. Daily law, the ability to loosen our mind, to alter our perspective, is a function of our imagination. Learn to imagine more possibilities than you generally consider. Avoid fixating only on what is present. Ponder what is absent. Negative cues. What isn't there? Okay. Alright. I see. Fix my mics a little bit. Trying to use two mics today to see if the audio is any different. So we'll see how that goes. Let's see what's going on in this book. Hmm. Let's see. Alright, this is dovetailing on a story that was told earlier, but the last paragraph in this chapter says, reputation, Boyd knew, is key. Your own reputation may not be intimidating. After all, we all have to fit in, play politics, seem nice and accommodating. Most often this works fine, but in moments of danger and difficulty, being seen as so nice will work against you. It says that you can be pushed around, discouraged, and obstructed. If you've never been willing to fight back before, no threatening gesture you make will be credible. Understand, there is great value in letting people know that when necessary you can let go of your niceness and be downright difficult and nasty. A few clear, violent demonstrations will suffice. Once people see you as a fighter, they will approach you with a little fear in their hearts. And as Machiavelli said, it is more useful to be feared than to be loved. Unfortunately, that's true. Yeah, I mean, it's good to be loved. And it's good that people like you. But when people generally see you as a nice person, for those that aren't nice, they will walk all over you. That kind of goes in line with the whole negative cues topic. Because what people don't see in you will give them the cue on how they're going to act. Oh, I did this and he didn't do that. Maybe I could push it a little further. No, I said this and he didn't. He didn't say anything back. This guy's a pushover. Yeah. Every once in a while, you have to be a little, I don't know, what would be unpredictable? Sometimes unpredictable is a good thing. If you're having to deal with it yourself, it could be a little nerve-wracking. But acting a bit unpredictable keeps people on their toes. Kind of like it said, they thought they knew how to handle you. Now they're not so sure. That's mostly, I guess, a good attribute to have when you're dealing with adversaries. You don't want to be like that in life in general, especially, your friends and your family and the people that you love. Like I could get a bit, I could get a bit squirrely, but in general, in the competitive world of life, a little touch of unpredictability tends to put people in check. People like to think they know about you in certain ways, or oh, I know this guy. Well, you just might not. So relax. The negative cues. The dog didn't bark. I like that. That means the dog knew him. Other than that, I woke up with a headache. I don't know if it was a fan hitting me or, I always attribute it to a little touch of the Rona. Dog didn't bark. Negative cues. I don't know. I don't know how much I can say on that. Probably be a quiet video. It's funny, I put on 2 mics to see if it records better, and this will probably be a quiet video. This little headache's just annoying. It's just enough to not feel that much, but it's just like right there. So I know my head's not 100%. Have some drink. Let me see what I see on the socials. I know I saw a video that's being passed around. I don't know. With AI, I can't tell it's real anymore. But it'll look real. Of Tel Aviv just getting completely lit up by incoming missiles. So I guess the whole Iron Dome thing isn't as iron as they were trying to make it out to be. Who knows? I just throw popcorn emojis in the comment section. What could I do? And they want to make a golden dome over here. Who knows? Really can't say. My conspiratorial mind, looking for the negative cues. As soon as I said all that, the back of my mind's like, well, what if this is just really just a ploy to deplete everybody's missile reserves? I don't know how much everybody has, but I know we were funding Ukraine, which basically means we were giving them weapons. And now we're trying to protect Israel. And I know they have their own defense, but I don't think it's much. And from what I hear, I think we're giving them just, as much support as we were giving Ukraine. So what if all this is to deplete our defense reserve? It's a possibility. And what if that's because, someone's looking to do something here domestically? They don't want us to be able to fight back. That's not going to happen. We have the real advantage of being so isolated in terms of our location on the earth. We're only bordered from the north and the south by land when it comes to foreign countries. We seem to have a pretty good relationship with, even though we're pissing off the Canadians pretty good. Mexico was always quiet. They're just doing their thing. And then the east and west coast is all water. So, we're going to see you coming from a mile away. And from what I hear, we have a pretty strong Navy. I don't know. It'd be a real tough feat for a foreign adversary to try to make a physical attack on us. Now, cyber and infrastructure damage to that kind of stuff. Now, that's a whole nother story. You don't have to land troops in a country to start messing with their infrastructure, especially if you got good cyber warfare. I don't know. Or it's even better if you use propaganda to get a country to start fighting with itself. Weaken them from the inside. Who knows? None of it really matters. I had a weird dream. Just throwing out random topics now. I had a weird dream. I was in a car. And don't know what I was doing, but it was dark. And my driver's side window was down. And all of a sudden somebody, I don't know what it was, approached and stuck their whole head and arms in, and they grabbed me. But as they grabbed me, in my mind, I knew who it was. The whole thing was scary because I couldn't really see who it was. And in my mind, who it was when I was a kid, our neighbors across the alley. I was best friends with their daughter. Her name was, I won't say the name. My girlfriend keeps telling me not to say names. She said I'm doxing people. I was good friends with their daughter, and in my mind, I knew it was her, but I couldn't see her. I could only see the vaguest silhouette of a person. It was blonde hair, and I knew it was a female. It almost felt like for lack of a better word, like a spirit or a phantom of some sort. It didn't seem like it was human, but it had a human form, vaguely. And it was definitely female, and it was definitely blonde because I could see a big ponytail. But it was weird. I haven't thought of that person in a long time. I haven't spoken to this person in probably since, I want to say, like high schoolish, maybe junior high. The last time I spoke to that person, because their parents got divorced, and I didn't really see much of her anymore after that. I used to have a real big crush on her too. I was really shy back then, so I didn't really say anything. And there was actually, I think, a time. There was a time when we were kids. Like I say, we were a couple, but we kind of liked each other for a little bit. But she was like a year older than me, so once like I think once like high school hit, I was irrelevant because there was guys at her high school. But we were always really good friends until I stopped seeing her as much. They would split time between her parents. Parents get divorced. Sometimes the kids are with the father, and other times with the mother. Yeah, her dad was cool. Her dad was he worked for IBM, so they always had computers, like way before people had computers. And then they used to go on vacation, like water skiing at the lake, and they took me a couple times. That's where I learned to single ski. Water skiing's fun. I would love to have a boat. I hear it's a lot of work, but having a boat and going to the lake is pretty cool. That's something I'd be into. It's just so peaceful and relaxing out there. What does this say? North 5 at Route 126, 3 lanes closed. 126. I don't think at 126. We'll see. Yeah, these freeways are beginning to fall apart. I'm noticing. And it's mostly from the heavy trucks and the constant driving. And it's really only in these slower lanes where the trucks drive. But I'm noticing huge, like, depressions where the weight of the trucks are hitting, because these freeways aren't completely level. So there's moments where the trucks are like adding extra weight as they like bounce up and down with the grade of the freeway, and it's causing certain areas to get cracked and like depressed down. And it's getting worse kind of quick. Kind of seems like once it goes fast. Probably like a metaphor for life once you get older. If you ask me. As above, so below. Now I got 2 green lights. I can see them. That's funny. I wonder if this video made that little fart noise when I first got in the car. I don't know why it does that. I'm not rubbing up against anything. I don't hear it as I sit down. But I noticed, like, recently in the videos, as soon as I get in the car, you hear a little. And it's definitely not me. I farted before I got in the car. I'm just kidding. Or am I? Yeah, that dream was kind of weird. And then I went back to sleep and had another dream, but the second one I don't remember because my alarm woke me up. I think this is my speculation. I think if you're woken up from a dream, it's harder to remember the dream rather than you had a dream and then you just kind of naturally woke up. But if something wakes you up, I think it disturbs the mind's mechanism when it comes to dreaming, and it doesn't re- record it as well as it normally would. That's funny. I was gonna say her name. As soon as I was gonna say it, I heard my woman in my head. Stop doxing people. Let's see. Get over one. This is my lane till I get to work. Unless there's lanes closed. Yeah, I think about a lot of friends that I have in the past because I had a really good friend all through grammar school, and I mean, we kept in touch after that. We didn't go to the same junior high or high school, but I think about him all the time, and I've tried to contact him on social media, but he's got an account, but he doesn't post anything. He doesn't use it. So I'm actually a little worried about him. He was a huge gamer, like huge gamer. Before gaming made money, this guy was 100% in on video games. And what little posts he has on his social media, they're all about gaming. But in my head, as soon as like people started getting paid for gaming, I instantly thought of him because man, this guy could probably be a billionaire by now because he was always good at the games too. Beat them all, had them all, and beat them all quickly. I used to love going to sleepovers at his house because he had all the video games. The only ones he wasn't very good at, if I remember correctly, were like the fighting video games. I was always really good at those. But like role playing games and everything else, man, he would just destroy everything, get every item. And some of them would have like multiple endings. He would see all the endings. He would play them multiple times just to see all the endings. But he is off the radar. I hope he's okay. He's really the only friend from my past I would care to get in contact with. He was a real good guy. His mom worked in the movie industry. She worked for 20th Century Fox and then I think a couple other different studios. I forget exactly what she did. And I guess there's one other friend I would like to get a hold of. This dream I had, actually, that I was talking about earlier. She had a little brother. And I was real good friends with him. But he kind of went, this guy's life kind of went sideways. And I think he ended up doing some time in prison for a little bit. I don't know for what. That dude is hauling ass. That's crazy. But you could tell this other friend I had, this girl's little brother. I don't want to say he was a bit of a troublemaker, but he was like mischievous growing up. So you could always tell he's probably going to get himself into some trouble. And lo and behold, looks like he did. don't know what happened to him either. I hope he's okay too. It's funny, this guy was, not big, physically and I'm not talking like overweight, I'm talking like tall. And I saw him once, like later in life. I was already married with kids. This dude's like six, I want to say like, he was friggin' massive. And I think he'd already come out of a stint in jail. But he was like, I want to say at least 6'4", 6'5", and like ripped, just gigantic. I was like, good grief, that's crazy. But in my mind, I still see him like a little kid that I used to hang out with a lot. And I hope these guys are okay. It's crazy how sideways life can go for people. Especially looking back, like, hey, you're that little kid I used to ride bikes in the neighborhood with, play video games with. Now he's been in and out of jail. Just never know how life's gonna go for some people. There were no negative cues there. For that one guy, I guess there's nothing but positive cues. You could see his mischievous could get him to trouble, and he didn't. They didn't get that under wraps, and I guess maybe he didn't. But I don't know what he went to jail for. So, who knows? You don't go to jail for being innocent, that's for sure. You did something wrong. I think that sign about those lanes being closed is past where I get off. I don't think it's going to apply to me. And then I wonder sometimes when I think about these guys I haven't seen in a while, did they ever think about me? I wonder if if anything ever comes up that makes people remember me. I think about that a lot about that too, like after I die. Really, I think if you think about that, how people will think of you after you die, then maybe it might lead you to try to. Cause I would want people to think good things about me. I don't want to leave people with bad memories. So that kind of leads me to try to lead, a positive life. Say positive things and have a positive impact. I try not to live absent-mindedly. I think really the only time I'm not really thinking about how people think of me is all my little tinfoil hat stuff. But when it comes to like advice or like, being like kind, I always try to be kind. I don't like insulting people. I don't like talking smack like, most guys do, like to just take jabs at each other just out of fun. I don't even like doing that. I don't like talking smack just for fun. Because sometimes when people do that, I'm kind of listening. I'm like, how much of that is actually a joke, and how much of that do you actually mean? I bet not 100% of it is a joke. I bet you mean some of it. Man, that guy must be either late or just behind schedule with his delivery. Like one of those Sprinter vans. This guy is just taking off. Gone. Oh man, I think most of the little energy packet that was in my cup just sank to the bottom. I should have shook this before I started drinking it. It is super sweet at the very bottom. Mental note. I see an arrow. There must be at least one lane closed. Let's get over. Instead, three. But I can see up ahead pretty far. So far, it's probably just the one. Oh, and these guys are picking up the cones. Just gonna relax behind the trucks. As soon as I get behind a slow moving truck, I instantly relax because it's like I don't have to feel stressed anymore. Because I can only go so fast. Everybody just goes around. I don't have to worry about any of that either. I'm not into feeling stressed anymore. I never was, but it just seems like I had a very stressful life for a long time. And now I can just kind of just relax. And now that I can feel relaxed, it feels odd. I have to get used to being able to feel relaxed. I'm sure something will pop up to stress me out. There's no shortage of things in life to stress you out. This is my exit. I bid you all adieu. And exit. Alright, last couple turns. I have made it safely. Yay. Let's see what the day brings. Man, it's a good looking truck. Well, at least it feels like the little headache went away. That's good. I mean, there's the slightest I have like a 0.5 headache. Almost gone. It's funny how everybody always parks in the same spots. I always see the same cars in the same places. I mean, not everybody, but there's certain people like me, creatures of habit. All right. Bing. I have arrived at my destination. Well, pretty incoherent video all over the road. Not literally, but mentally. I guess look for the negative cues and always keep them guessing. All right, let's go to work.